Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to my train room. If you're watching last week, you will have seen me construct some air handling systems and ductwork for the roof of National Widget. This week I'm going to work on the gantry crane and the widget making machinery next to it. So let's turn the camera around and get to work. Well, today I'm going to work on the rooftop gantry crane. Now initially I thought I had insufficient 3/16 H channel to finish it, because this is all that was left in the packet of evergreen H column. But today I found some plastruct H channel of the same size, so I'm going to use that. This is more than enough. See if I can ever get one out. Now I did some experimenting, and I think vertical posts of 80mm look about right for the effect I'm looking for, and the top pieces have to be wide enough to put the posts at 70mm centres so that they sit directly on top of the building support columns. So I've cut all the pieces. The first step in assembly is to build two identical sub-assemblies, and then I'll start adding details. I've got to make sure that I get the right length pieces in the right places because they are so similar. At the moment these corners are still fairly weak, which is why I've created these heavy-duty corner gussets out of sheet styrene. I've made a few more than I need just in case I lose some, or if I get some that are not quite accurate. And these are going to be used to brace everything in both directions. And that's going to make those corners about 10 times as strong as they were on the prototype. Now I've got some square mounting plates that go under each leg. And I'll leave those to go hard just for a moment before I get on with the next step, which is to join them together with some slightly smaller sections. For that I have plastruct 1/8 inch H girder. Now here, when I measured the building, I found that from the back of the parapet to the wall on the narrow side is 60mm. I would like it to have been more, but I don't think the foreshortening is going to notice that much, because it's going to basically be viewed only from the front. And then these fit fairly snugly inside the webs of the other pieces. I'm making it so that with the gusset against the inside of the H channel, it will be in the middle of the bottom piece. And I have some pieces to cut out. These don't have to be accurate as long as they're big enough. Any minor gaps will be virtually invisible, especially after painting. And let those corners harden up a little bit before I attach the other end. So don't go away, I will be right back. Well, the main frame is now built. I've got all the gussets in the top. I trimmed off the back corner here to miss the wall, and I've trimmed the front edges to allow it to get close to the parapet. That way I was able to maximize the distance between the two frames. Now the main beam will be a larger piece of H-channel. I've got 1/4 inch here. Not quite sure how far it should stick out the front. I'm thinking probably about as much again. It's got to clear the front wall by enough to ensure that anything they lift up doesn't crash into it and get damaged or damage the building. But at the same time, it doesn't want to be too long, because then the structural integrity will go out of the window. And then this will just hang underneath the middle of that, and then the hook assembly would run on wheels on the bottom web of the H girder. But that's not ready to install yet. I need stopper plates at the ends so that it doesn't run off the end. These should probably just be square plates the same size as the girder. While I'm waiting for this to go hard, I'm going to put some bolt detail in the anchor plates. This frame is all complete now. I've cleaned up the ends of the beam, and while that was going hard, I've been working on the moving part. This is just cobbled together from small bits of plastic. I've added squares of 125 by 125 strip to represent the journal boxes for the wheels, 2 bits of plastic rod to represent the motors. One would be for moving it along the beam, and a bigger motor for the winch, and a gearbox on the side. And then the hook, I just used a piece of brass wire stuck into the end of some plastic sprue, and then that just clips on here. I'm going to glue it in one place because I need to represent the cable attachment for the wiring, and that won't be as flexible as it would need to be able to move it. Since it's not currently in use, I'm going to glue it about here, which is probably where it would have been parked between uses. I also attached a block of styrene on the post there as the control box. Well, I stripped the insulation off some stranded wire, and that gave me a supply of really fine wire segments to use. So I've put one between the crane carriage and a take-up spool here. So there's the cable for the power supply, and I've added another short piece from the top of the control panel around the back of the post, and in theory that just goes up the back of the H channel to the reel here, but I haven't modeled it because it'll be impossible to see it. And then the take-up reel is just another slice of plastic sprue. So I'm going to call that crane done, apart from the paint, of course. I don't know what the safe load limit would be of a crane like that, but I'm going to argue that it is sufficient for National Widget's requirements. Now, some time ago I made a video on turning this piece of shiny plastic into a representation of rusty metal. And it's been sitting on the roof of National Widget ever since. And I decided I like the appearance of it. To me it really looks like some piece of heavy industrial equipment. So I decided to turn it into just that by adding some extra bits. But I didn't actually use this one, I have another one just like it, and this is what I came up with. The centre of it is the same part from a different broken Nerf gun. I made a base for it out of styrene. All the pipe work came free in a structure kit disguised as sprue. The shut-off valve is a brake wheel from a freight car. I added a piece of ductwork running behind it, using the same method as I did on the rest of the ductwork. This little sub-assembly here was just cobbled together from bits of styrene in the same manner as I made the air handling system a couple of days ago. And then this piece here, the base of it, same as the air handler, just a different shape. For this one I used the wider spacing of clapboard siding for the louvers, just to make it look different from the other air handling system. The top piece is a piece of water pipe wrapped in 5,000 styrene, just so I can use solvent to attach all the other bits of detail to it. And then the blue piece on the top is something my wife brought home from the dialysis clinic. It's a protective cover for an access port. Anyway, before I combine the three sub-assemblies, I'm going to get it painted. But let's go over to the layout and see what it looks like in situ. Well, here it is in situ on the roof of National Widget, next to the crane. I think it fills in that space very nicely, and I am very happy with the way these roof details have turned out. I think once it's painted it'll finish off the top of this structure very nicely. I haven't yet decided whether to put a water tank on this tower. I know I'm going to put one on the elevator tower of the older building. Of course, before I can call this structure finished, I've still got the details to do down here, both inside and outside. And I still need a lot of roof details on the older building. There'll be quite a few small pieces in and around the base of the sign. But that is a project for another day. So I will check in with you again then. Well, that completes this week's installment. Next week I will work on some of the other details. I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.